In this video, I'm going to share the details of a very useful functionality called My Risk Preferences, which is available to our subscribers in the RiskSpotlight portal. The portal is an online service that is utilized by financial services firms for monitoring external loss events, emerging operational risk topics, emerging best practices, and regulatory developments. This functionality allows users to create one or more groups of risks to facilitate better monitoring of external operational risk content within the portal. Let me show this functionality to you within the portal. Here I am logged into the portal as a user. This functionality is available within the My Risk Preferences tab. Here you can see that this subscriber has defined two preferences. The first one is called bribery risks, which contains two risks, and second one is called money laundering risks, which contains one risk. Let me click on the first preference. Here you can see the total count of different types of external content we have within the portal, which are related to the two risks included in this preference. The two risks included within this preference are accepting bribe and offering bribe. These two risks are utilized to display all the relevant content in the tables below. The first table is related articles, where you can view the most recent news articles related to the two bribery risks. We capture two types of articles in the portal. One is article related to loss events, and another is article related to emerging topics such as emerging regulations, best practices, and emerging trends. The article type column highlights these two types for each article. The next table is related deep dives, where you can view the most recent deep dives our team has published, where the two bribery risks included in the preference are covered. We publish a deep dive every month based on the prioritization of the topics performed by our subscribers. These deep dives are only available within the portal and not available anywhere else on the internet. The next table is related key OpRisk topics, where you can view the topics related to the two bribery risks included in this preference. These topics represent high-level operational risk themes that are being covered in the media and is defined by our team. The last table is recent publications, where you can view external publications related to the two bribery risks included in this preference. These publications include surveys, reports, analysis published by industry experts, consultancy firms, regulators, or research organizations. As these capture detailed analysis of one or more operational risk topics, they can be a very valuable source for identifying emerging best practices and controls for managing operational risks. Let me click on the back button to return to the previous page. If I click on the money laundering risk preference, there is only one risk included in this preference, and all the content displayed is related to this risk. This is how you can view the most relevant and recent external operational risk content on a single page for the risks that are most important for you. Let me click on the back button to return to the previous page. You can click on this arrow next to the preference name. This will display the 15 most recent news articles related to the risks included in the preference. To close this view, you can click on this arrow again. To create a new preference, you can click on Add New Preference button. In my example, I will create a risk preference for monitoring data breach related risks. So let me capture a title for this preference. You can also capture a description for the preference. Let me capture this for my example. Click on the Save and Refresh button to save the details you have captured so far. Now you will see a Select button appear in the Selected Risk section. Click on this to select the risks you want to include in your preference. Let me expand this pop-up window. Here on the left, you will see the 126 operational risks from the RiskSpotlight library that are used for monitoring all the content within the portal. You can also filter the risks by clicking on this filter icon. For example, if you want to view only the risks related to external theft and fraud, you can select this in the RS risk level filter and click on Apply Filters button. This will now display the risks from the RiskSpotlight library that are related to the external theft and fraud category. Let me click on the filter icon again. You can also utilize the Basel risk categories for filtering the risk. For my example, let me select any RS risk level for this filter and type intangible asset in the RS risk level 3 filter. And let me click on the Apply Filters button. This will display all the risks where the keywords intangible assets are part of the risk title. From here, I will select the 4 risks that are related to the theft of data and click on the Save and Refresh button here. This will select the 4 risks for my preference, and these will move on the right side of the page under the currently selected risk section. If you want to remove a risk from a preference, you can click on the checkbox for a risk and click on Save and Refresh button, and you will see it moves to the left-hand side here. For my example, let me add this risk again. Once you have selected the right risks for your preference, you can click on the Save and Close button. As soon as you do this, all the tables on this page now will display content related to the 4 risks I selected. To save the updates you have made, click on the Save and Close button. And your risk preference is now available in this list. This is how easy it is to create a new risk preference. There is no limit on the number of preferences you want to create. So you can create as many preferences as you want to utilize this functionality for personalizing your experience for monitoring operational risk content. If you're not a RiskSpotlight Portal subscriber currently, then you can register for a free 2-month trial from the RiskSpotlight website by clicking here. You don't need to enter any credit card or payment details to register for this free trial. If you find the portal content useful for monitoring external operational risk content, then you can subscribe using the 3 subscription options displayed here. If your team is not monitoring external operational risk content, then it is very likely that your team has significant blind spots on the understanding of key operational risk exposures and emerging best practices to manage these. That's all for this video. Thank you for your time and attention.